like he could be unkind or he could be kind anytime. So last one is taste. This momo tastes delicious. So this sentence telling us that the state of our perception of the momo, that is delicious or not. And another example is my mom is tasting the food. So this is the actions of the verb that my mom is going to taste the food. Okay, so another one is auxiliary verb, which is we can also call helping verb in the sentence. It gives more meaning to the main verb, and they cannot stand alone. So main verb stand alone, but this kind of auxiliary verb cannot stand alone. For example, is, has, do, did, these are the main verb here. So will, shall, may, can, could, must, might, these are the modal auxiliary verb in the sentence we can use. For example, may, so bus may. So if we only say bus may, then bus may what, we don't know about it. But if we write bus may stop, then it is complete sentence. So which need the, it could be like we are not sure that bus might stop or not. And another is will, Rita will. So we don't know Rita will what or when or whom, something like that. So if we write Rita will come, then Rita will come or Rita is coming, something like that. The sentence being like this is a helping verb. And must, they must. So we don't know they must. So it is incomplete complete sentence. So they must sleep. So it means they should sleep or they must sleep. So these are the example of auxiliary verb, which we can also call helping verb. And another is transitive verb. So transitive verb are action verb that have an object to receive that action. So mainly we need to focus here that um, in this kind of verb that have object to receive, if there is no object to receive action, then we cannot call that is transitive verb. So in this kind of transitive verb, they must have action plus object to receive that action. Okay, so another thing is it also require grammatical object to be grammatical. And yeah, for example, the cat broke the pot. So in this kind of example, in this kind of verb, we need to think about what to whom or whom to what. So the cat broke the pot. The cat broke is action. So broke what, the pot. So second one is he moved the chair. So he moved is action, move is action. So move what, the chair. So that is the object that received the action. So third one is she bought some new books. So she bought what, new books. So new books is the object which receive the action bought here. So these are the example of transitive verb. So next one is intransitive verb. So intransitive verb is the just opposite of transitive verb. It is the action which does not have the direct object or complement to receive action. So earlier we have learned about transitive verb which has direct object to receive that action, right? So this is this one is just opposite of transitive verb. So sometimes many verb have both transitive and intransitive verb. That it depends on the function. That's why we need to see that there is direct object or not in the sentence. So which help us to define that is intransitive or transitive. For example, I am studying at the moment. So here we cannot see direct object here. So we can only see the see action verb studying. There is no direct verb. So direct object. And another example is his father was driving at that time. So driving is action. There is no direct object to receive that action. Sarah is cooking right now. So cooking is action. There is no direct object. So these are the example of intransitive verb. So basically we need to remember that intransitive verb is opposite of transitive verb, which does not have direct object to receive the action. Okay, thank you so much, sir.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Does anybody have question for her? Would you like to ask any question about verb? I think you understood everything, and it's a very common topic as well. Shweta, ma'am,
Yes, sir.
are you saying anything?
No, no, no. I wanted to say yes, sir. You
Okay, okay.
understood.
Yes, thank you, Gita, ma'am. You can also search in
Thank you,
internet.
sir.
So many videos also, and you can watch our last year's class. Sorry, last classes also. Okay, before I start anything new topic, I want to talk about reflection because your reflection and assignment writing among these two, there is no difference. Can anybody share what's the difference between reflective writing and other sort of writing? Please, if you have, you all know about reflective writing, what is reflection also, and if you don't know also, if you don't know, remain silent and let your friends share their idea. Please, you're welcome to share your idea. What sort of writing is called reflective writing?
Sir,
Yeah, Rajendra sir, yeah, you can.
so in reflective writing, you would present it from your own like subjective preference, like your experience with it, maybe your application, using it maybe in your life.
Yeah,
Did it make you like realize something about yourself, perhaps in a if the topic is too broad, maybe? Um, yeah, that's what I understand by reflective writing
yeah,
versus like defining terms in our for our regular assignment.
yeah,
Is that true?
yeah, it's okay.
All
And
right.
anybody more? Does anybody want
Uh,
to ask something?
Sir,
Yeah.
sir,
Yes, please.
I want to add something with Rajendra ji.
Yeah,
That is, uh, what he has just said is okay. And another thing we may add with it that in case of learning or teaching, the thing that we have already learned or discussed on the basis of our point of view, that means our personal point of view. If we add our personal point of view with this learning, that is reflecting. That is the reflection. That is my view, sir. I don't know
okay.
whether it is. I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, and any more idea?
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, I think, sir, reflective writing is like engaging myself in the task with
Yeah,
my own personal uh, thinking or personal. I mean, we generally reflect our personal thinking in that piece of writing. It is not kind of like academic writing that we get help from some books and other things. We use some jargon words there. So
okay,
reflective writing is kind of like our own words and from our own thinking.
okay. You're good. It's okay. Any other idea? Uh, I think we all are busy. I'm also busy. Maybe you got email from Dr. Gewali, right? Uh, I have this mail over here, but we all are busy. So satirical email he sent me. Maybe you are also there in his group. Okay, where is that? Let me remind you. I think I deleted his email or this one. Can be. Did you get, can you see?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Did you get this email?
Yes, we
Yes,
did,
sir.
sir. Yeah.
Okay, let me read only first line. The second one. In this email, I'm sharing my great sheet of MOOC I took on Canvas. I completed the course on November 15. I'm sharing it not to brag with you about what I achieved, but to share why I did it. Here, I'm busy as always, which is as clear as a broad daylight. You all know it well. I have a family to look after and lots of social responsibilities, not to mention the workload I have at KU. But you know, if I don't keep updated with what's going on in the teaching, learning, and latest knowledge building, I'll be out of business in no time. And so many other things. You got what is he saying, right? What I want to say over here is all of you are saying you are busy, right? I'm also not free. Lakshman sir is also not free. Nobody is free. We are busy, but we have to manage our time. My intention is you are writing, you are submitting your assignment in rush, and some of you are still not attempting. You are lagging behind, and the assignment will be piled up, and you will not have what satisfactory grade as well, right? Although we are not studying for a grade, but that is also important. And in reflection writing also, you all are teachers, most of you are lecturers also, some of you are also lecturers as well, and you know what reflective writing as well, but you have just copied from your assignment and pasted, right? And some of you are pasting the thing from internet also, right? And that's why that's not ethical also, and you need to contemplate over the thing, the work you are doing, I mean to say. Okay, let's watch this 6 minutes video, then I will start the subject matter, right? It's on reflective writing, right? It has some ideas.
Reflective writing is a
Can you hear? Can you hear the sound?
process
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
into writing your reflective thinking. Reflective thinking is actually the important part of the process. The writing is just a way of documenting that this has happened. When people first start to reflect, they often think that it's about looking back at an event and thinking about what they've learned from the experience. What they don't realise is that it is equally about looking forward, imagining future events and thinking about how the lessons you've learned could be applied. It is therefore a three-stage process, looking back and analysing and projecting into the future. Without the third stage, it could be pointless. It's also really important that when you look back at an event, you don't just concentrate on it in isolation. You need to take a metaphorical step backwards so that you can see it in the context of other events and other learning. These can and should influence your viewpoint when reflecting on that event. All of this can be written about in your reflective writing. When most people reflect, they write about what happened, about when it happened, often in the form of a timeline. I did this, then I did that. They write about who was involved and perhaps where it happened. These are useful things, but they are basically descriptive, and writing about them does not actually contribute to useful reflection. Instead, you should write about your thoughts about the event, during it, after it, and since. You should also include information about how it made you feel. Were you uncomfortable doing it? Did you feel confident about it? Instead of what, when, who, and where, you need to write about why. Why did you do it that way? How? How will you change it in the future? You should also think about the implications. You learned something, but so what? How does that help you? Writing that answers these questions is truly reflective. So, how much description is needed and how much reflection? Description is important, but it should be kept to a minimum. It exists merely in order to put the reflection into context. A typical piece of reflective writing should have short bouts of description followed by a lot of reflection. One important part of reflection is hindsight. This is the ability to look back at an event with knowledge that wasn't available during the event. Typically, some hindsight will initially hit immediately following an event as a result of knowledge gained in the process of that event. This is the if only moment when you first look back. What then happens is you gain more hindsight gradually over time as more knowledge becomes available. This can be incredibly frustrating if you think you can't change things. However, if at the point you reflect, you realise you've learned a lot from the experience and you can change things in the future, this is actually very empowering. When writing about that learning, it is important to not only think about how it can be directly applied to similar situations, but how it can be adapted and translated to other situations. For instance, if you have to give a presentation, you may spend a lot of time preparing for it and be really happy with the way that it went when you delivered it. But what if someone afterwards asks you a really awkward question, one you hadn't prepared for? You might feel a bit flustered and not answer it how you would have liked. When you reflect on this, you may write about how you did not like that feeling, and in future presentations, you'll need to think about more possible questions and prepare answers beforehand. However, you may also think about other situations where thinking beyond the immediate problem would come in useful. And you may realise that despite being unprepared, you did manage to give an answer of sorts. This may make you realise that you can think on your feet and give you confidence to do the same in other situations. You could put all of these thoughts into your reflective writing. If you imagine an experience as a wet cloth, the purpose of reflection is to wring every last drop of learning out of that experience. It's also about showing that you can think about how you can put that learning into action. Nobody's saying this is easy. When you first start writing your reflections down, it can seem very strange. You may learn things about yourself that you're not comfortable with. You can feel like you're really struggling uphill. However, when it becomes a regular activity, it can feel perfectly normal and relatively easy. The great thing about reflecting is that it's very rewarding. When you realise that you can analyse things and work out possible ways forward for yourself, your self-confidence gets a real boost. Reflective writing is just a way to formalise and encourage such reflective thinking.
Okay, can anybody summarize what is reflective writing now? Gina ma'am, will you try? Are you listening me?
Sir?
Can you summarize
Yes,
what
sir.
is it? What is reflective writing now?
So when we write reflection, we must write, there should be less of discussion and then this description and more about how we felt and how we will be using it in the future.
That means it's a backward looking and forward looking as well, right?
And looking at,
Have to
yes,
mix up
yes,
our sentiment, also feeling as well, right? It's not totally sentimental, but you can add flavor of your feeling as well, right? That's reflective. and the content part is secondary. It's important, but just writing everything, right, from whatever we discuss over here, it's not important, right? So you have to be somehow concise, precise as well, and selective and evaluative as well while writing reflective writing, right? And then it would change your behavior later as well, right? This is the intention or the use of reflective writing. Okay, I think from today onward, you'd change the format styles of your writing. I'm simply talking about bring change in your reflection writing, right? Because as I said earlier also, is a simply writing, academic writing and reflective, reflective writing can be academic, but is a solely, purely academic writing, and reflection writing or reflection of class or reflection of something else is different. So we should not be too much formal while writing reflection, I mean to say. Okay. Now, let's start. Who is absent today? We are only 6:17. Let me check who is not there. I think Tirtha G is not there. Is he there? Tirtha sir is absent. And who is the next? 17, 18, 19, 1, still one is missing. Who is not there? Who is 1B? G, where is G? Is not there right now. Either G was there. Okay, she said she has problem in internet, maybe.
I'm here, sir.
Okay.
I'm here, sir. I'm
Okay,
listening.
Okay, Namal. Okay. Okay, let me talk about clauses. We have already defined what is a clause. Can anybody help me? What is it? Clause. What is a clause? Please.
It's subject and verb.
Yes. Clause. And is there any?
Sir,
Okay.
sir, it's a part of a sentence consisting of subject and verb. It can be independent clause or dependent clause.
Okay, good. Right. Anybody else? Do you want to add anything over here?
So there must be a subject and a verb, and
Yes.
that can't be complete the sentence. That can complete the sentence or incomplete sentence, and it should be a part of a sentence.
Yeah, part of sentence. Okay, I think these are very easy content. Most of you are teaching, I think, about clauses. It's a rather a grammar than a purely linguistic one. Maybe there can be some new thing, or it will be a recapitulation for you. You see here, as you said, or as we defined earlier as well, a group of related words containing subject and a verb, right? Simple. In a clause, there should be at least a subject and a verb. And it is also called smallest grammatical unit in a different sense, let's say, in the sense that it should contain a thought or a proposition. One idea will be there, it means, right? Plus, should have at least a thought or a proposition. It means you can say meaning aspect. Any verb and any subject, right? That can't make a clause in this sense. That should be meaningful, it means. So till up to this, I think, right? It's not difficult. There's another sentence also here. In a simplest form, a clause is in grammar is a subject plus a verb. It's not difficult, and a complete thought as well. And there are two types of clauses. One is independent or main clause, and next one is dependent and subordinate clause. So I think till up to now you can define what is a clause. Is there any question? Any confusion? Clause and do
No,
you
sir.
regarding sub sentence and clause, regarding clause and phrase, right? You should not be confused with this. We discuss about phrase as well, right? Clause is somehow similar to a sentence also. That is a part of sentence. Can anybody help me to define independent or main clause? Anybody, please?
Sir,
Okay, please.
So it can stand alone by itself.
Independent clause.
Yes, sir. It can stand alone as a sentence.
No, ma'am, are you saying something?
Yes, sir.
What is it? Please, can you say loudly?
Yeah, I said that it can stand alone as a sentence,
Okay,
a complete
yes.
thought.
Yeah, it has complete thought and it can stand alone. And Asruful sir, are you saying? And if
No, sir.
okay,
It's okay.
yeah, from
Independent sentence has a complete clear thought,
okay,
whilst dependent sentence is
plus
depends upon the independent clause for its meaning.
yeah for another part for its meaning, right? There are another
Yes, sir.
words also,
Yes,
main
sir.
and subordinate, right? In our next class, we'll talk about
Yes, sir.
coordination and subordination. We have different class for that, right? So today, let's talk about independent from the word meaning. Independent also, you can guess, right? Independent and dependent. Simply from word meaning, we can speculate, we can guess what does that mean. So you're very close also. I mean, that's the thing we're going to discuss now. Okay, see, independent clause, it has, as clause has subject and predicate, it also has the same thing. To be a clause, there should be a subject and a predicate. You know what predicate is? Can anybody help me? What is it? Predicate? It's a jargon of grammar. What is it? What is predicate? Maybe some of you have.
So object.
It's a object also.
Yes,
Prakash sir,
sir.
are you saying?
Part of the sentence.
Yeah, predicate is the function that subject does.
Okay. You are wider. Can you pinpoint your thought?
For example, if I say Ram writes a letter,
Okay.
that apart from Ram writes a letter, that can be predicate of that sentence.
Okay, yes, that's predicate. There can be object also and verb, right? Verb plus parts, right? You can simply say for common understanding, that's predicate. So, and independent, as we discussed earlier, doesn't depend on anything else for its meaning. So you don't have to say anything, right? Independent clause will have its own meaning. And next one is expresses a complete thought and can stand alone. If the idea, for example, if subject is from one category and verb is from another and it's meaningless, that's not clause. So that should be meaningful. That's amalgamation or combination, let's say, or concur, let's say, that's called what? Clause. And can be its own sentence also, right? Or be the part of a larger one. Sometimes you can break down independent clauses and it can be independent, its own sentence, right? And in case of that compound sentence, it can be part of that, right? Or in case of even complex sentence also, there can be independent clause. Have any confusion here? Subject, predicate, on meaning, on thought, can be a sentence itself and be a part of another larger one. You can see simple sentences here. The football match has ended. It's a very easy, you can see, subject and predicate. You can see, let me, it's a very simple idea. So number one says subject and predicate. Which one is subject here? Subject?
The football.
The football match.
The football match.
And remaining part is
predicate.
Okay. And in this number two, the girl.
The girl.
The girl.
And this one is called
the subject, and is dark in complexion is
the second part is called predicate. And let's see meaningful. Let's see the independent meaning, right? We can understand football match has ended means you got one idea, one concept in your mind, right? The game is over, right? To understand this meaning, we don't have to negotiate its meaning with any other clause or clauses. And last one, on sentence or be a part of one. Let's see another slide. You can see here, okay, this number 3 example. What is there? The man gave her some money and she paid her school fee. This is compound sentence. Let me use another one, ink. How many clauses are there?
2.
2. And these 2 clauses are joined by this and is called connector. And the sentence type is compound.
Compound.
Right? So before this and, there is a clause. The man gave her some money. And after this, you can see she paid her school fee. Here is also, you can see subject, right? And here is also, you can see subject. And this one is predicate. And this first part is also meaningful in itself. And the second part is also meaningful. She paid her school fees. It's also meaningful. It has 1/3. Maybe you can say they are correlated, but for meaning, we don't have to use the another part. So it can be its own sentence also. If you write separately and omit this and, these 2 clauses can be separate sentences as well. So these are the features of characteristics of independent clause or clauses, you can see, right? So let's move on to another. And it's not so much important, but for your kind information, in case of compound sentences, right? Remember this, I'm not talking about complex sentences, I'm talking about compound, right? In complex sentence, there is a different case. We'll talk about this later. But in compound sentence, we use what? These type of conjunction or connector, and two independent clauses are connected, right? You can use these type of conjunctive adverb also. They are also connected. We use this and we join two clauses and form a single sentence, right? We'll have different class for coordination and subordination. Next class will be about this, right? So I'm just signposting you what will ahead. So in independent class or clauses, if we talk about compound sentence, right? Can anybody help me? What is compound sentence? What is compound sentence?
A compound sentence has minimum two independent clauses.
Yes. And connected by? Mr. Sir? Okay, maybe. Sweta ma'am, are you saying something?
And or but.
Sir has got disconnected.
Okay, okay, I'm
Oh.
listening. Okay, please.
That is why.
Sorry.
Now you can see it no again.
Okay. Can you repeat the thing? Because I was out of connection.
Oh, okay, sir. Sir, compound sentence contains two or more independent clauses joined either by a comma or coordinating conjunction or by a semicolon. The coordinating conjunctions are like and, or, but.
Okay, okay, that's the thing, right? Simply, we categorize sentences into 3 to 4 types, right? Simple, right? Simple. Can you add? Simple, compound, and complex. Some grammarian, they also say that there is complex compound sentences, but generally we can find 3 types of sentences. So right now I'm talking about compound sentence, not the complex one, right? Don't be confused with this. Compound, and these connected, right? They help us to make what? Compound sentences. Okay. Okay, let's now talk about dependent clauses. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So dependent, from its word meaning also, you can say dependent. And you know the basic requirement of clauses. What is the basic requirement? Subject and predicate. There is no compromise. To be a clause, whether dependent or independent, we need subject and predicates. Similarly, there is another requirement. In case of dependent, there is negative word. Can't express a complete thought, or it can't stand alone. It means when we have to derive, when we have to infer meaning of that particular clause, we have to depend upon or we have to borrow the idea from another independent clause. So it's another name for dependent clause, that is, it's also called subordinate clause. Remember that term, dependent clause is also called a subordinate clause. Not only this, to join two clauses, we use what? Subordinating conjunction. So these conjunctions are called connective, as in compound sentence. So it's called dependent clause. Do you have any comment, problem here? What is regarding the definition, regarding the characteristics of dependent clause? Does anybody have confusion? Like clause, independent clause, it should have one subject and a predicate. There is no compromise because it is a mandatory feature of clause 1. But as in independent clause, in dependent clause, meaning is not clear. We can't get complete thought. We have to borrow the idea from independent clause. This is another feature of dependent clause. In this sense also it is called dependent, right? In this sense means for meaning it depends on another clause. And another name of dependent clause is subordinate clause, in the sense that it uses subordinating conjunction. And for meaning also, subordinate means sub and ordinate. You can see sub and ordinate, right? It's a junior one, inferior one. That's why, right? And there are some connectives, subordinating conjunction. We use that and form a sentence using independent and dependent clauses. Can we go ahead, or does anybody have any question here? Anything? Let's go very slowly. I think I have not started, I have not exposed any jargons here. So very easy. Dependent or subordinate, independent or free clause, you can say in this sense. So we will talk about these only two things. Clauses, under clauses, there will be only two things, independent and dependent clauses. So maybe you are feeling somehow bored. I have very short video here. Let me play this, right? And then we can go ahead about clauses. Okay. Are you listening me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Give me sounds and I can.
So relative clause, sir.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Please.
Relative clauses are also dependent clauses.
Relative clauses. Okay, we are coming to the point, right? You are right. Till up to now. Okay.
Hello friends.
Okay, yes, sir.
Welcome to free
Can you
grammar
hear the
lessons.
sound?
Today we
Can you hear?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yes, sir. We can hear this.
let's get started.
Yes, sir.
So what is a clause? It is a group of related words. It has a subject and verb combination.
So we cannot see the
And
video.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was asking. Let me.
We can hear the sound. No, we can hear the sound, but not the video. We can't see the video. We can only hear the sound.
Okay. Let me stop this sharing and again. Can you see now?
Hello friends, welcome to
Yes,
Free
sir.
Grammar
Yes, sir.
Lessons.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Today we are
Okay.
going to get started. So what is a clause? It is a group of related words. It has a subject and verb combination, and it has a complete meaning by itself. You can consider a simple sentence as a clause. For example, he plays cricket regularly. Now, is this a clause? For that, we will check whether it is satisfying all the three conditions that we just discussed. Is it a group of words? Yes, it is. Here, he is the subject, plays is the verb, so it has a subject-verb combination. And the whole sentence, he plays cricket regularly, makes complete meaning by itself. Hence, we can say it is a clause. Now, clauses are mainly divided into two parts based on their usage. It may be independent clause or dependent clause. An independent clause is actually a complete sentence by itself. It doesn't need any other clause for its existence. For example, you may sit. Here, you is the subject and sit is the verb, and the whole sentence is giving a complete thought by itself. So, it's an independent clause. Then what is a dependent clause? It has a subject and a verb, but it doesn't have a complete thought by itself and is dependent on independent or main clause for a complete thought. For example, wherever you lie. Here, you is the subject and like is the verb, and the whole sentence is having a meaning as well, but it's incomplete. Now, let's add a main clause to this clause. You may sit, and now the whole sentence becomes you may sit wherever you like. Now, here the entire thought is complete with one main or independent clause and one dependent clause. This is all about dependent clause. Now, dependent clause are mainly divided into three types: noun clause, adjective clause, and adverb clause. Let's discuss about each of them. So what is a noun clause? Noun clause is a group of words having subject and verb of its own, and it acts as a noun in the sentence. For example, I fear that I will fail. Here, that I will fail is a clause as it is a group of words having subject and a verb, and the whole clause is acting as an object of the verb fear. So it's a noun clause. Let's look into one more example of it. That you have come pleases me. Here, that you have come is a noun clause as it is acting as a subject of the verb pleases. So basically, this clause does the work of noun. Now let's look into the next type of clause, adjective clause. Adjective clause is a group of words having subject and a verb of its own, and it acts as an adjective in the sentence. Now, what does adjective do? They describes noun, and so does the adjective clause. For example, the umbrella which has a broken handle is mine. Here the clause which has a broken handle is an adjective clause as it has a subject and a verb of its own and is describing the noun umbrella. Let's look into one more example. He met a girl whose eyes were blue. Here, whose eyes were blue is an adjective clause, and the clause is having a subject and a verb, and it is describing a noun girl. So basically, this clause does the work of an adjective. Now let's look into next type of clause, adverb clause. Adverb clause is a group of words having subject and a verb of its own, and it acts as an adverb in the sentence. Now what does adverb do? They modifies verb, adjective or other adverbs in the sentence, and so does the adverb clause. For example, they rested when the evening came. Here, when the evening came is a clause as it has a subject evening and verb came, and it is describing verb rested. So it's an adverb clause. Let's look into one more example. I will give you a map so that you can find a way. Here, so that you can find a way is a clause as it has a subject and a verb and is describing the act of giving, which is a verb. So basically, this clauses does the work of an adverb. That's all about clauses in this video. Let's quickly revise what we have learned in this video. Firstly, we learned what is a clause. So a clause is a group of words with a subject and verb combination and has a meaning by itself. Then we discussed about two types of clauses, independent clause and dependent clause. Finally, we discussed about three types of dependent clauses, which are noun clause, which act as a noun in the sentence, adjective clause, which acts as an adjective in the sentence, and adverb clause, which acts as an adverb in the sentence. That's all in this video. Thank you for watching the video. Please message me.
Okay, did you get the idea about clauses?
Yes.
Me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Till
Yes,
up to
sir.
now, we talk about what is a clause, and next type of clauses. There are two types of clauses. First is independent. From its name you can guess what is an independent clause, and the next one is dependent clause, and you got idea about this also. What is the dependent clause? And in this video you saw there are three types of dependent clauses. So can you see this slide? Can you see?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, see here. One is noun clauses. Maybe Sweta ma'am was saying relative and adjective or adjectival clauses. This is the second type. The third one is adverb or adverbial clauses. And from its name you can guess clause, that sort of dependent clause which function as the noun of clause, that's called noun clause. And if it's function as adjective or relative clause, then it's a relative clauses or adjectival clauses. And the next one is if that adds something about verb, then that is adverbial clauses. Very simple definition. I think you can get the idea. Do you have any confusion, any question till up to now? Anybody? Please count.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
this may be like simple. You probably might have gone through it, but I'm kind of confusing. So you mentioned sentence having like subject and predicate, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so in a sentence, he wrote a letter. So he would be like a subject and wrote a letter would be like a predicate, right?
Yeah.
So if we change it into passive voice, right? A letter was written, for example. So what is, like, can you break down that one?
No, I talk about this as well earlier. I mean, surface structure and deep structure, right? Surface structure, we always discuss and play with surface structure. Passive is, deep structure. Surface structure, for example, negation is also that's surface structure. Question is also surface structure, right? We have to talk about deeper one, basic one, right? Verb and objective part. We are discussing about this, right? Whatever comes, right? Verb, and after this, after, not only after, which function as object, that is only what? Predicate. We have discussed this about this earlier also, right? Don't be confused with this. Rajendra sir, did you get my point?
Yes, sir. Like earlier, you had one example, I think. In the example, it said the match has been ended or has ended, something like that. And you could also rewrite
Yeah,
the
don't be
sentences.
confused with this, right? Don't be confused. Bob, you know, Bob is same, but we don't talk about
Yeah.
object part. Object part is we had many discussion about this. So, Bob and object. Whether is that, right? In passive, you can say it's initial position, and in active, it will be at final.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter. Predicate means verb and
Yes.
object, right?
Yes, sir.
Verb and object.
Object. So yes, the confusion part, again, you might have already explained it. So when we say in like a passive, like a voice, where is that? I mean, the whole sentence like the predicate? That was the question.
No. Where is object? Which one is?
It's towards the front.
Yeah,
before the verb.
that's a part of predicate, right?
Okay.
Verb
So that doesn't have like subject.
Yeah, that's not subject. As I said earlier, also.
Yes.
Verb and object. In
okay.
Amalgamation in a combined form, it is called predicate, right? Verb and
Yeah.
object.
So another example here, sir. Yeah. So in this compound sentence, he returned home, and the letter was written, if it can be. So he returned home. It's like the independent clause. The letter was written.
Are you using
it's
computer,
like
sir?
dependent. Or no, it's.
Are you using computer or mobile?
Yes.
Computer or mobile? Which one?
I'm using computer.
Okay, can you share your window?
Computer.
Yeah, please share your window, and we can discuss there. Okay.
I don't have anything written in like computer, but I can
You can
definitely
write now.
type it.
You can write your example, right? It will be comprehensible for your friends also. Otherwise,
okay, sure. Just a.
Shall I stop sharing?
All right. Just a moment. I will share.
Okay.
Sure. I'll just open the Word. Again, this may be very simple. Again, I was just got confused. Let me share my window.
Okay.
All right. So, for example, So, okay, this one, the compound sentence, right? We have the coordinating conjunction here. So we have like one independent clause here. He returned home. That's kind of like a complete, like makes a complete sense. So another clause here, the letter was written. That's also a complete sense, right? But this doesn't have like a subject in a sense, but this kind of acts like a subject, he. So I was just kind of confused about the whole, subject predicate thing.
Okay, in parallel structure, you are joining one is active sentence. We cannot join active and passive, right? Parallel structure.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I think
this
so.
is one is
yes.
active and next one is passive, right? Grammatically, it is not correct. But as I said earlier,
okay,
this one predicate in the first one, you are not confused, right? But it has no subject, right? It has no subject.
Yes.
You may assume this one, right? Even though you assume this is correct sentence, right? But as I said earlier, the written and later, right? These two are predicates. It has no subject.
Okay, so in passive voice, the entire thing is predicate. That was the question.
If there is no subject, then is a predicate. If you
so predicate by itself can form a complete sentence.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you get my point, sir?
Sir.
Okay.
Sir.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I think within the deep structure of the letter was written, someone is certainly there, sir, to write the letter.
Yeah, there is. And in passivization, but we are
making
out of the topic, but in passive sentence, right? You know the rule of omitting subject.
Yes. But someone is certainly there.
Yeah, there should be, right? We can say that there is no subject. There is subject.
In the deep structure of the sentence.
But subject is unknown. That's why we are omitting that.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
That's why I said we have to analyze these grammatical sentences using deep structure, not the surface one. In surface structure, in deep structure, there is subject, right? But this one is surface one. Surface means whatever we see. Okay. Can you stop sharing your screen, sir?
Yes, sir. So on the surface, the passive voice has no like a subject, but on the deeper like observation, it has the subject.
Yeah,
is that
we know that
what
there
you're
is,
saying?
right? In case of pronoun,
yes.
For example, in case of indefinite pronoun, we omit them, right? We know that. Okay, let's have a 15 minutes.
Okay,
break.
all right.
Then we will resume again after this. At 6, we'll again start our class. Is it okay? Maybe it's boring, right? Let's have a break for a while. It's a 42, right? And let's rejoin our class, resume our class at 6 p.m. Is it okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Let's have a break and then.
Yes, sir. Sure, sir. 15-minute break, yes, sir.
Shweta ma'am, how long is the break?
Till 6 o'clock.
Hello?
6 o'clock. Hajur, 6 summer.
Okay, okay, thank you, ma'am.
We have to be back in the class by 6.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay, let's summarize what we did till up to now. We try to define what is a clause. Then we discuss about different types of clauses. One is independent, next one is dependent. We watched one video about this. I think that video also helped you a lot. We have three topic for us to discuss. One is noun clauses. These three are types of dependent clauses. There are three types of dependent clauses: noun clauses, relative or adjectival clauses, and then adverbial clauses. And we know that from name also. Noun clauses means clauses functioning as nouns. Relative or adjectival clauses means clauses functioning as adjectives. And the last one, clauses that functioning as adverb. Yes, these are the types. Let's slightly, right? We are not talking about them deeply. We'll simply talk about the thing, basic concept about this. Let's see noun clauses. Okay, it's a very simple, and we watched the example in the video also. Clauses functioning as noun. So noun means what? Noun in a clause can be either subject or object. It's simple, right? These two are main functions of noun clauses. But there are other also if we go deeper down into it. But as I said earlier, if you are interested, you can search lots of things. And I have given here 4 points, more other roles of noun clauses. Or for example, subject of sentence, that's subject. Direct object of verb, that's object. And complement, subject complement, object complement, there can be an object of preposition. These are function of noun clauses. For example, as a subject, you can see WH clause here. What she wrote in this sentence. Let me use the pen. This whole expression, it's a clause. This is functioning as subject. Is interesting. You can replace this with any other noun or pronoun, right? For example, movie. The movie is very interesting, right? So next one you can see, I read what she wrote. This is also clause. You can see subject and verb here, right? And these two are basic function. And if we analyze this into deeper one, right, there can be other uses, other function. In this example, you can see, for example, subject of sentence. This one is that clause, that dependent clause. You can see here WH. The thief gave us what we wanted. The object of verb. He made the man what the boy is today. You can see, is there any problem? Can you hear me? Laptop is showing
Yes, sir. We are.
Fluctuation, that's why. And see, complement. You know the meaning of complement. Complement completes the meaning. It means this clause completes the meaning of subject. The important thing is, what is the important thing? She has arrived. The complement. See, subject complement here. See, what he is today means made the man what he is today. It's complement. See, after preposition, it's called object of preposition. He spoke of. Here, don't be confused. I'm simply saying that noun clause or noun clauses, they function as noun in the clause. Or noun means simply we can use nouns as a subject or as an object. This is the point you need to remember. Let's forget about this all example. It's for detailed explanation, but commonly, plainly, what you have to remember is noun clauses function as noun in the clause. Nouns commonly we use either as a subject or as an object, right? You can see some more example beginning with WH words, right? We have seen commonly noun clauses, they begin with WH word. See on the left hand side, what do you do in class? This is question, right? This is one clause. You can imagine this is a clause. So it is here on the right hand side. Let me use the pen here. This is independent sentence here, but here the same thing is a dependent clause. What we do in the class, this is subject of this sentence. Verb is easy. It is also same. Where he works, where does he work is here, and where he works is subject, right? You can see subject is as sacred. It can be after this also. Look at here, not only at the initial position, at the end also. I don't know. I don't know. No is verb, and this whole expression or clause, you can say, is object here. Mary knows. See, object here, who they are. She knows, for example, this what happened. This is object. So WH question word are used at the place of subject or object in noun clause or clauses, you can say. There is another. You are very familiar with this, I think. Is there? Waiting. We are only 17. Okay. Whether or if. They can also be used in noun clauses. For example, you can see it's a very common. I, okay. I, and which one is verb here? Wonder. And this is if clause here. I wonder if it will rain tomorrow, right? So whole expression here is functioning as object. Similar example, I wonder in this if part here. Do you know the name of these two parts in if sentence or conditionals? Can anybody help me? What do you call? One is if part and another is, there is another part. There are names for these two clauses. Can you tell me? Anybody? Ariful sir?
Yes, sir.
Maybe you have taught conditional if sentences, what we call in Nepal, right?
Yes, sir.
Also is the same. Can you tell me the name of these two parts? Let me clear this. Yellow one has one name, and this white one, it has another name. In if clause, this part.
I think this is first conditional, maybe.
This one, this is one clause, right? This the first one. You can see the circle.
I think, is it main clause, sir?
Yeah, it is. This is called main clause, and another one is called.
Next is if clause.
Yes, if clause. So.
Subordinating clause.
Yeah, main clause. You saw the word. Okay, who is making sound? Okay, and you saw that. Look at. Let me go back here. Okay. I showed you the slide. Okay, here the first one. Okay, independent or main clause.
This is.
Okay. Can you see? Independent.
Yes, sir.
Main clause. Dependent or subordinate clause.
So the if clause is subordinate clause.
Yeah, that's subordinate. You know, we know the meaning of subordinate, right? Subordinate.
This is
dependent.
This is dependent on the independent clause.
Yeah, independent clause. So this one, this is main clause, and this one is subordinate, or here we call if clause, right? If clause has many names. We say if clause, we say conditional, right? And we say if sentence, it's called if sentence, right? So if we rarely use whether, but it's also grammatically correct because it is longer one and this is shorter one. So we use if only. The same expression you can see. I think I don't have to explain this. So it says noun clause begin with if. So why it is noun clause, you can see I is subject, wonder is verb, and whole this if part or if clause is, what is it? What is it? Object. See, here is also the same. This part is called object, right? Whole expression, the whole clause is playing the role of noun. You know, noun can be either subject or object. It's a common thing, right? And that also, that clause, I just gave you many example, showed you many example earlier. This is that clause, beginning with that. That pollution affect the quality of our lives is obvious. You can see up to here, right? This whole expression or clause is subject, and not only subject, it's a noun also. So it's a noun clause. That pollution affect the quality of our lives is obvious. So the same thing you can see here, object, that clause is object. It is obvious that pollution affect the quality of our lives. So can be subject, can be object, can begin with WH word, can begin with if or whether, or can begin with that. Please keep these things in your mind. Noun clause can begin with here in this slide, WH word, 1 point. Number 2, whether or if clause, or whether or if or that, right? These things. So, and one more important thing is noun clause or noun clauses, right, can be either subject or object in the clause. Do you have any question here? Are you clear? Let's not explore many things. Only what is noun clause, or what is the function of noun clause, and with what words they begin. WH, if for weather, and that. That's all about noun clause. Do you have any problem here till up to now? Are you listening me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's start relative clauses. Maybe you have taught, maybe you are teaching at 10th grade. I have taught for about 15 years, right? And again, this relative clause, we have to teach at that level. And here also, I'm handling the same thing in our curriculum in Nepal. It begins from 5 to 6 class up to 12 also, right? I have taught many times. And if you are not from English background, right, it can be new, but if you are from English, it's a very common thing. Relative clause or relative clauses, and they are also called adjective or adjectival clauses. You know the reason why. See, relative clauses perform the function of adjectives or adjectival phrases. Very common. Did you get the meaning of expression? Relative means here, or adjectival means they play the role of adjective in the clause. That's why they are called adjectival clauses or relative clauses. That's the thing. So adjective means what's an adjective? What's the role of adjective? Can anybody say me?
Describing nouns.
Yeah, describe nouns. Very simple.
So it describes nouns.
Noun or pronoun, simply, right? Or you can say describe or qualify, or talk about, explain, or say something or add something about noun or pronoun. Very simple. So the role of relative clause is also same as adjective or adjectives. It's not difficult, that's meant in this sense. And we know that now we are talking about dependent clause. Dependent means subordinate clause. So it will have no meaning in itself, right? You know that. It depends upon another clause. And in relative clause, while teaching relative clauses, you know that we have taught about relative pronouns also. So can you define what is relative clauses? Or what are relative clauses? Can you say? Anybody else? Can anybody help me? What is relative? What is a
So
yeah?
So example like which. So are you so like examples or
defining.
like which where?
Yeah, we will come to example later. Just define what is it, or what do you understand by relative clause?
Relative clauses start with relative pronoun.
And function? What does it do in a class?
It perform it
function as an adjective in the class. You got my point? It
yes, sir.
Relative clause means adjectival clause. That's why the role of relative clause in a sentence is like an adjectives, not more than that. So it addresses or it answer which or what type. For example, look at here. The tomatoes that I grew in my gardens were very tasty. So this, let me use this pen. this one, this expression or clause simply talks about what? Tomatoes. The tomatoes. Not all. Here is the tomato. So it's describing. They are describing expression. Expressions, you can say. Right? Next one, I remember a time before digital downloads when movies on VHS tapes. See, it's talking about the time. That particular time. Adjective, rule of adjective. You can see here as well. Here is the guitar, which Ivana use. Get here. You can omit this one also. The guitar was found at a garage sale. It's adjective. For example, simply, if you write old man, if you omit even that old, that sentence is correct. Similarly, in adjectival clauses also, when you omit that adjectival part, right, there will be an independent clause, or there will be a sentence. That means, for example, you can look at here, Jeremy now lives in Kathmandu, right? You can omit. This is an adjective. I mean to say, this clause is playing, this means on the lottery, it is playing the role of an adjective. So, in short, relative clauses, they play the role of adjectives in the sentence. Do you have any confusion here?
Sir,
I'm repeating the same thing. Yes, please.
The relative clause with this comma and without comma, I think there is some differences here.
Yeah, we are coming to the point.
I forgot.
Yeah, I'm coming. Wait, let's wait.
Sir, and in this first sentence, the tomatoes that I grew in my garden, I think that I grew in my garden is the subordinate clause. Where tasty is another clause, I think, sir. Yes, sir?
Yeah, up to here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Here.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay. You're right. Okay, let's go ahead. You can see here pronouns. There are other pronouns also. Commonly, they are relative pronouns. Common relative pronouns we use in relative clauses. And I'm just repeating, you know everything about this. Let's see again. Who can play the role of subject or object pronoun? Which subject or object pronoun for animal and things? First one is for people, which can refer to the whole sentence. Also, these two are different purposes here. Whose possession for people, animal and thing. Whom object pronoun for people in non-defining relative clauses. We'll come to the point what is defining and what is non-defining later. And that subject or object pronoun for people, animal and thing in defining relative clauses. So examples are on the right hand side. You can go through this. Have you seen the man who is the new marketing director? The horse waits. You can see here. Next, he can't type at all, which did not. You can see which did not here, right? As is a simply example. That's why I'm going a little bit faster. This possessive, you can see all of this. People in objective form, you can see that, right? For thing here, right? Object. You can see in this way we use relative clause or adjectival. Don't be confused with these two terminologies. They are similar. Maybe Rajendra sir was asking about this. Relative clauses, comma, with comma and without comma. So they have different name here. Restrictive or defining, that's called. Don't be confused. Restrictive means defining. These are jargons, okay? These are very common. Maybe we studied the same book at 10th grade, meaning into words, right? I've been teaching it for around 10 years, right? And one question is always asked from the same topic at 12 grades also. So restrictive and defining. Defining means no commas. There's variation, right? And non-restrictive, it is also called non-defining. I have not mentioned here. You can add. Non-restrictive means non-defining, right? So there will be comma. So you can omit the intermediate part here, adjectival part here. That means it's not necessary. It's not mandatory. But in defining, to understand, it is mandatory. It is necessary. So look at here. Restrictive means gives information that defines the noun, information that's necessary for complete identification of the noun. For example, the girl whom you saw yesterday is my sister. Here is no comma. And the middle part, you can see the middle part here, whom you saw yesterday, right? It is necessary to understand the complete meaning, right? Are you listening me? There's a defining. It means for definition. Next one you can see definition. Defining means definition simply in common sense. A seaman is someone who works on a ship. Get here. Seaman works on a ship. That's also correct, right? But
sir,
yes, please.
Sir, why we are not putting a comma after yesterday?
This middle expression, right? Clause, I mean, this is necessary to know complete meaning. That's why we are defining something here. To define, if you use more and more expression, right, it would be clearer. That's why. It's not extra information. It is necessary information, right? But in restrictive one, we are not using that particular clause. For example, here is a superfluous, right? But it is difficult to distinguish between which expression is mandatory and which one is not necessary, right? But commonly what we can say is that the expression or the clause which we write over here, if that is not necessary, if that is extra, we put comma. For example, you can see Mary, who is my girlfriend, likes eating fast food. Is a fast food is there, fast food, right? So this one is not necessary here because it is about eating habit, and this is person, relationship. It talks about relationship. So it's extra information, not necessary. That's why.
Yes, sir, got it.
Yeah, we can omit that. You can see Ferrari, which is in front of house. This is in one issue, right? And this one is in another issue thematically. That's why when we add extra information, right, superfluous information, then comma is mandatory, that is restrictive. But when to get the sense, to get the complete meaning, if we need that particular part, then we do not put comma. and that is called defining. That is called restrictive. Is it okay? As far as I know, right? Is there any problem? Maybe you are, most of you are teaching, right? Relative clauses. And I'm helping you to make it clear. I have separate slides also. I will send you via email, right? For relative clause. But I have lots of information here. And next one, look at the thing, something more you need to remember about relative clauses. See, restrictive relative clauses, there is some reservation. So look at here. What is the thing? Object pronoun in defining relative clauses can be dropped. Object pronoun. For example, the boy who we met yesterday is very nice. Can be rewritten as this. Here is who, this object pronoun is not here, right? Is very nice. The boy we met yesterday is very nice. It's a one feature. It's for extra information, right? It's not mandatory to remember, right? But if you are teaching, you need to know this. The next one is defining relative clauses are often used in definition. As I said earlier, the lumberjack, right, is a person, you see, who cuts wood. So it is used while defining. It is very easy to remember. If you have to define something, that is restrictive and defining also, both. And we do not put comma while defining. But if you are not defining, comma is necessary. And here is one more information. In non-defining relative clauses, who, which may not be replaced by that, but we can replace who, which in defining relative clause. One more information for you, right? If you are teaching, remember this. Sometime you can find use of that for both of the cases. In these cases, you need to be careful. So simply in short, are you saying, Rajendra sir, anything?
Yes, sir. Could you maybe switch to the previous slide, please?
Okay. This one?
The previous slide, just one slide. Yeah.
This?
Just one slide before.
This
yes.
one?
So in this slide, the last sentence there, the Ferrari in front of the house belongs to my dad. That can also be, no, that's fine.
Is it okay?
The previous one, I mean, no, not this one, the other one.
This one?
You can, I guess, press next.
This one?
The slide that you were showing before. Yes, this one.
Yeah.
Not this one, but the previous one with the Ferrari.
Okay, which one is that? This one. Here it is, you can see.
Yeah, I guess it's a little slow response. Yes, this one, sir.
Sorry?
So in here, we can, I guess, yes, we can. Can we just drop the which, even though it is like non-restrictive? Can we say the Ferrari in front of my house belongs to my dad by dropping which?
Ferrari.
But it is non-restrictive. Non-restrictive.
My house.
Yeah, belongs to my dad. After we drop which.
Yeah, what we
sounds logical in a.
Yeah, in spoken English it is generally left, right? But not in the
yes
one. This is only the cases I just give you here, who, right? In relative one, it is done, right? Sorry, defining one, it is done, right? And in non-defining, it is not dropped generally.
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
And there are other cases also. I'm coming to the point. Maybe look at here. it is done sometime, as you said here, this one, right? But there is another some cases. Let me show you, right? And is a next type of clauses according to some author. For example, maybe your point can be addressed over in relative clauses with who is, that as a subject pronoun can be replaced with participle. This can be done. For example, here is who, right? Can you see the example here? I told you about the woman who lives next door, right? And this main verb can change into ing and we can drop this. For example, this thing you are saying here, so look at here, which, here is which also. Do you see the cat which is lying on the floor? And it can be done. Do you see the cat lying on the floor, right? This can be done. And these type of clauses are called participle clauses. But some authors say it's a relative clause and some authors say it's a participle clause. This can be done, right? You can drop, but what we can do is in Ferrari also, right? Main verb should be changed into ing and you can drop. But still some author, they argue on this, but it can be done. Nowadays we accept this. Rajendra sir?
Yes, sir, that's fine. Thank you.
It can be done. Okay, now let's start another one, and you can see some more example in this also, right? The same thing, more example, that he bought it. That means here the car, and that stole the car means the thief. Let me use the pen here. Which the governor commissioned, right? The house. Police, this means because, and you know that relative means always qualifying subject or object, right? It's very simple. You can use this example and get more ideas. So let's start adverbial, right? Commonly, let's forget everything other. Adverbial clauses means that type of clauses that add something about verb. See, add plus verb. Nothing more than this. You can see example here. They always cry when the mother travel, right? So when the mother travel, adverbial clause, because it modify cry, right? Cry. And then just after this you can see one expression that is adverbial clause. As in adjective clauses, here also you can ask question, how, why, when, right? There can be confusion about sometime adverbial clause and adjectival clauses. There can be confusion, but you can distinguish. I showed you 2 questions there, and here are altogether 4 to 5 questions. How, why, when, where, to what degree, under what condition. If you ask this question and if you can get answer, these are adverbial clauses. But simple thing what you are supposed to remember is that these type of clauses add something about verb, not about what subject and object. It should add something about verb, something about, or it needs to modify what? Verb or verb clause. And as in other clauses, we use subordinating conjunction here also, right? For next class, be ready what is subordinating and what is coordinating if you have confusion, right? Dependent clauses They are introduced using subordinating conjunction. But in coordinating conjunction, they are generally, or always, let's say, not generally, coordinating conjunction means two independent clauses. Subordinating conjunction means one independent and one dependent clause. So here also we use some subordinating conjunction. Here I have so many example. When you see example, you will be convinced. Let's see. See example here. Peter lives where his school is located, right? Here lives. And this clause where his school is located. I saw him, saw Bob, when, see, saw is modified by when he came to class. So you have to distinguish from relative clause and you have to ask those questions as I showed earlier, right? There are WH word and maybe confusing at this point, but you need to see the Bob here, I saw him, and you have to see the expression when he came to classes. So not only this, in case of WH one only, elsewhere is very easy. See, as if, simply from this also you can guess, right? It's not relative one, as if is not used, because it's not used in relative clause. So hard is not used, so that is not used in relative clause. So you see, if clause here, it rains and I will not come home. So here are some more example, right, about adverbial clauses. The thing is same. Type of adverb. There are some types also. Along with this, it also goes in line with adverbs. That means place, where. You can use where there are computers. There is Microsoft software. You can use time. For time we use when. And here is after. You can see after the fruit is harvested. You can see if you want to write in past tense, passive voice, it is sold at the market. There's a mistake, right? Lots of mistake in the sentence. After the fruit is harvested, right? It should be there. And here is market. Here marker is there. Spelling mistake. So if you can get answer of why here, cause. You can use because also for this. I didn't call her because I'm shy. You can get answer of what was there. These are questions, and if you get the answer of this thing, right, and you can use those conjunction at the time. Conjunction in the sense that these are these words are used, these connectors are used before adverbial clauses. So common conjunction, you can say after, before, when, while, right? You can see their function or more information here. So her father died when he was young. And you can use as soon as, until also. By the time, once, as, so long as, whenever, every time, the first time. These all are the list of connector or conjunction. We use in, which clause? Adverbial clauses. You can see the more list of you can see here, even though, although, right? In examination it's easy to give example because they are very common and we are taught at school level also. Whereas if also, unless also, only if also, even if, whether or not, in case, these all connectors are used only in adverbial clauses. And these are also example of complex sentences. Remember this, not the compound, right? Complex sentences. I talk about 3 types of sentences: simple, compound, and complex, right? In case of dependent clauses, we need to talk about complex sentences, not the compound, right? Not only the simple one. So maybe you watch this thing, right? We have time. I have one more video. Maybe if you have start this thing, if you have watched this thing at your home, you got lots of things. Are you listening me? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, I have one more
Yes,
video to
sir.
conclude.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Let me revise once again before playing that video. I talk about what is clause, type of clauses, type of dependent clauses, right? There are independent and dependent. Under dependent clauses, noun clauses, then adjective or relative clauses, and next one is adverbial or adverb clauses. So function of noun clause is noun, to play the role of noun or subject or object. Adjective or adverbial clauses, sorry, adjective or relative clause or clauses, they play the role of adjective, very simple. And the adverb or adverb clauses, they play the role of adverb in the clause or in the sentence, let's say here. So here is one more video, and it is more elaborative than the previous one, right? With this video, we'll have 5 to 6 minute discussion and we'll wrap up the class. Don't worry about this.
Sir.
Yes, ma'am. Are you saying?
Can we see that adverbial clause adds the can we say that adverbial clause adds adds to the verb in the sentence?
No,
Adds more
add something about the verb. Yes. Add something more about the verb.
Okay.
Right?
The verb.
Okay. Let me place a very slow video. Maybe you the comprehensive one.
Achieving balance, careless sentences.
I'll skip something.
Clauses will help you build sentences.
Can you hear the sound? Can you see the video?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
If you can build a variety of sentences, then you can accomplish even larger tasks, such as writing clear email or putting together a solid essay or report. If you agree that grammar is a helpful tool to master, be sure you're subscribed to my channel so that you get all my future grammar lessons. Well, let's begin. There are 2 basic kinds of clauses: independent clauses and dependent clauses. Both kinds have a subject and a verb, but independent clauses can stand alone and make sense. Dependent clauses can't. Can you identify which clauses are independent?
Can you identify? Here? Which one is independent and which one is dependent?
The first one.
First
one?
one is independent.
Difference independent. Yes.
Second one
Second
is
number?
independent. How
Second.
high can you build is independent. Second is dependent.
Dependent. Third one?
Dependent.
Dependent.
Okay.
Fourth one is
Dependent.
Fourth one is also dependent. Fifth one is independent.
And
How high you can build.
Sixth one is also independent.
Family and friends.
okay.
These are independent clauses.
Independent.
They can stand alone
Independent.
on simple sentences. The other clauses are dependent clauses. They fall into the category of fragments. Each dependent clause is only part of a sentence. We have to put a dependent clause together with an independent clause to form a sentence. Now these are complete ideas and they make sense. Independent clauses can follow different patterns, but they all have a subject and a verb. If you'd like to study patterns like subject-verb, subject-verb-object, subject-verb complement, then you can click to watch my lesson on sentence patterns. There are 3 different types of dependent clauses: noun clauses, adjective clauses, and adverb clauses. All 3 types of dependent clauses must combine with a main clause or an independent clause to form a complete sentence. When we put a dependent clause together with an independent clause, we get a complex sentence. We can put dependent and independent clauses together in various combinations to get compound sentences, complex sentences, and even complex compound sentences. It helps to be familiar with these combinations because then you can achieve variety in your writing. If you'd like to review simple, compound, complex, and complex compound sentences, check out the video description. I'm going to include some useful links. There'll be a link to my website, and there's a page with some useful videos to improve your writing. Let's talk about noun clauses first. One kind of noun clause is an embedded question, or a WH clause. These noun clauses start with a question word, and of course they have a subject and a verb. As a whole unit, a noun clause functions like a noun. That means an embedded question can be a subject, an object of a verb, an object of a preposition, and even a complement. If you need to review embedded questions, then click on the link. I'll also put links to related lessons in the video description. Another type of noun clause is a that clause. We commonly use that clauses as objects of verbs, and when we do, we often omit the word that. Check out these examples.
I know that there's a way to solve the puzzle. He thinks that he's so smart. I found out that he looked up the solution online. We pretend that we don't know the truth.
We see.
Okay, you can watch this video at your home as well, right? Let's not waste our time, I think. I have given this link in this slide also. Now, if you have any question, we can discuss on this matter. Rajendra sir, can you summarize the class right now?
Yes, sir.
Hey, could you
Hello.
summarize the class? Whatever we did today? In short.
Yes, sir. I think we, okay. So we went through what clause is. So you mentioned clause having like subject and verb, and it is like a smallest grammatical unit. You also explained about the independent clause, which which basically has all the properties of a clause, but then it can stand on its own. Okay, it has this meaning. Then you talked about dependent clause, which has like subject plus verb plus it cannot stand on its own. Okay, so for dependent clauses, you talked about noun clauses. That acts like a noun in a sentence. It can be like a subject as well as like a or object. Then you talked about relative or adjectival
Yeah.
clause. So it acts like an adjective in a sentence. Okay, that clause. Then finally, you talked about adverbial clause, which acts like a adverb in a sentence, especially working on a verb. Summary, is that okay?
Thank you, sir. Yeah, we did this thing. Is there any confusion? Anybody? Hemanti ma'am, are you listening me?
Yes, sir.
You are going to present not next
Excuse
week,
me, sir.
after next week. Yeah, it's your topic, okay?
So should I mention these all things in my presentation?
No,
I think
very
Gina
short.
and me, we both are in the same.
Well, maybe you can share the presentation 50-50, right? One of you simply talk about clauses and types of clauses, and the next types of dependent clauses, right? Is it okay?
Okay, sir.
Yeah, first of
Okay, sir.
Weber will present that first. Simply talk about what is or what are clauses and types of clauses, and the next presenter present about types of dependent clauses. There are 3 types, and it would be very short also, right? And you don't.
Okay, sir.
So where is the
Professor, are you
presentation?
saying anything?
Is it?
Actually, I was late due to the load shedding, and
we have recording.
Would you please?
Please.
No, I know, but would you please clarify where to use comma and where not to use comma regarding this relative clause? I still get confused.
Yeah, okay. In relative clause, if you are defining something, right? If you are defining, right? If you are giving definition, do not use comma, right? And if you write additional information, unnecessary thing of like that, right? Let's not say unnecessary, but additional information, then you have to put comma. If you are defining,
would you please give an example each?
Yeah, I gave so many example here. See here in relative clause, right? Here you can see example. For example, you can see the last one. The lumberjack is a person who
There is no comma.
Right? So you are defining here, right? You are defining. And all cases you can see, right? Wherever there is what? Commas, right? The person in red sari is my sister, for example. Red sari, we don't use red sari, right? For that. To define. That's right. You can see here also. See, Mary, who is my girlfriend, comma, eating fast.
Mary, who is my girlfriend, likes eating fast food.
Food. This one
the
is
Ferrari, which is in front of my house. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Simply, what you have to remember is, if you are defining something, if you are giving definition, no comma, right? But if you are writing additional information, then that you need to put comma, right? So it's defining. First one is defining. Commas one is non-defining or restrictive, right? And here are some links. Okay, yeah, I've given you here some links. If you have confusion, you can surf. You can watch in YouTube's also, right? Or you can use my own this video, right? Is there any other questions you want to ask, or I have one short your meeting. If you don't mind, I want to stop right here. Is it okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
If we have anything, we can discuss next. So I'm going to stop for today, right? Okay, thank you for your participation.
Okay, sir.
Good
Thank you,
night,
sir.
sir.
Night, sir.
Good night, sir.
Good night, all of you.
Okay, sir. Good
Good
Thank
night.
you, sir. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
কি বলে subscription